This week we're going to be focusing on chicken and kind of cheaper cuts of meat. So we call this week Cheap Thrills. This week, like I said, we're going to do chicken. We also have a couple specials at the bar. The Chateau Saint Jean Chardonnay and the Parallel are going to be $1 off per glass if you guys want to indulge over there and talk to Stephanie about that. But basically, I'm just going to go through our itinerary and talk a little bit about the chicken. And if anybody has any questions at any time, please just let me know. So, yeah, chickens were domesticated about 8,000 years ago. They're thought to be domesticated around the region of Thailand. The native jungle fowl became really popular because of the low maintenance that it took to raise the chickens. You know, it didn't cost a lot. You could just throw anything out in the yard and they would kind of pick it up and eat it. It takes chickens only about 5 to 8 weeks to grow to full maturity, so it's really quick to grow a full bird. And you know, so and also the size of the chicken was great for, you know, small families, because back in the day there was no refrigeration, and you could break down a chicken, cook it up, and be very few leftovers. They cook to an internal temperature of 165, which is kind of interesting to me because they have a body temperature that runs about 110. So you really don't, you know, if you have a really fresh chicken, you don't really need to bring it up too far to bring it to a safe temperature to eat. Americans consume about 8 billion chickens a year, which breaks down to about 20 chickens a year per person, which is, I mean, if you think about it, it's a good amount. It's about half a chicken a week, and I don't know. I thought about it, and I don't think I eat half a chicken a week, but you know, I guess you sit down, you get a quarter chicken, and break that down in one serving. Chicken's also very popular because it's a very versatile meat. You can prepare it so many different ways. You can fry it, you can broil it, you can grill it. It takes on a variety of different flavors, and takes on a variety of different flavors. You know, it's a very mild meat, so it's great all across the board. Takes on a lot of spices, takes on a lot of you know, herbs and flavors. Lend themselves very well to the chickens. Somebody asked me this week if you can eat the bush birds around here, and I know that a lot of people, I know a lot of Dominican folks actually do ingest some of the bush birds. Yeah, the yard birds. You know, and they say it's actually better than the stuff that you get at the store. I believe them. I haven't tried it yet. You know, just because. Yeah, they're free range. You know, they hormone free. You know, so if you got the stomach to deal with it, then I'm sure they're a little bit tougher than some of the birds we pick up here, but you know, I'd say, you know, as long as you cook them to a safe temperature, you'll probably be fine. You know, if you want to try them out. Chickens are great because, like I said, they lend themselves to a great variety of cooking techniques. Now, when you're roasting a chicken, you want to do it on a slow temperature. And this is true for a lot of meats that have the bone in, because when you have the bone in, obviously the bone's not going to cook as fast as the flesh. So you want to cook that on a lower temperature so you don't dry the meat out. If you're going to grill the chicken, it's generally a good idea to kind of break the chicken down into smaller pieces, because you're using a higher temperature to cook the meat. So even though the bone is in on that, you still want to use a low temperature relatively, you know, when you're on the grill, because the bone is in. If you're going to do something like boneless chicken breasts or something like that, you know, you can use a higher temperature, and you should be all right with that. I generally recommend, if you're going to use chicken breast, to marinate your chicken. The salt lends itself to kind of retain the moisture of the chicken, and that way it doesn't dry out too much, and you know, it's a much more palatable experience. Today we are going to just do a small demonstration on how to break down a chicken. I'm going to ask for a couple volunteers. If anybody wants to come up, I'm going to have them also try to start the braising process on our chicken dish that we prepared for you guys tonight. There's a couple reasons why you want to braise some of the meats. Now, chicken's a great meat to do this with, but it doesn't necessarily need to be braised because it's pretty tender as it is. But it is a nice cheap cut of meat. There are, some of the other cheap cuts that you can use the same process on are like short ribs, pork shoulders, some of the tougher meats that have been more usage with the animal. What happens is when the animal moves around, some of those parts have more ligaments, and the collagen, which holds the ligaments together, is rather tough. So what you want to do is try to break that down, and the only way to break that down is really through time and through heat. And so what happens, the chemical process happens where you heat the protein up, and the collagen kind of liquefies into gelatin. And what will happen is the heat will also kind of constrict and tighten up the meat fibers. And over time, as the meat fibers relax, they'll absorb the gelatin, because the heat also kind of, as the meat constricts, they'll kind of dry out. The meat fibers will dry out, and over time, as they relax, the gelatin will be absorbed into the meat fibers. So that's what happens over time, and there's really no way to speed that up. It just, that's why a lot of these dishes are great for families who have a bit of a time constraint, crock pot dinners, things like that. You throw it in there, you put it on a low temperature, a lot of moisture, you let it sit for a while, you come back home, and it's all done. So these dinners are great. These dishes are great for people, for beginners, for kids, because it's just a one-pot dinner that you can throw everything in and pretty much forget about it. Stir it a couple times, and you come back and it's done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a chicken from the back.
From the yard?
Yard bird. Watch out!
Can I get that chicken, please?